You know that feeling when your phone is working perfectly fine, but then the new model comes out, and suddenly your current phone feels slow, outdated, and embarrassing. Or when your car runs great, but you see the newer version with the upgraded features, and think I should probably get that. That feeling that manufactured dissatisfaction with things that were working perfectly fine 5 minutes ago is costing you approximately $200,000 over your lifetime. Here is what is actually happening. Companies have engineered an endless upgrade cycle designed to make you feel like what you have is never good enough, not because it stopped working, but because something better exists, and your brain falls for it every single time. The average American replaces their phone every 2.5 years, not because it broke, not because it stopped functioning, but because a new one exists. They trade in cars every 4 to 6 years. They upgrade laptops, furniture, appliances, and electronics on cycles that have nothing to do with when things break and everything to do with when something better becomes available. I call this the upgrade trap, and here's the number that is going to make you rethink every purchase. The difference between upgrading on a when it breaks schedule versus upgrading on a when something better exists schedule is $8,000 to $12,000 per year in unnecessary spending. Over 30 years at 8% returns, that is $108,971 to $162,457 in wealth you traded for slightly better versions of things that were already working. My name is Nick, and today we are going to talk about why better is the enemy of rich, how the upgrade cycle is specifically engineered to drain your wealth, and why the person who seems to have endless money is not constantly upgrading to the latest thing. They are using things until they actually stop working. If you have ever looked at your finances and thought, I make good money, where does it all go? The answer is probably sitting in your pocket, parked in your driveway, and scattered throughout your house in the form of upgrades you did not actually need. Let us get into it. The math of the upgrade cycle. Before we go any further, I need to show you what upgrade cycles actually cost, because most people think about upgrades in terms of monthly payments or individual purchases instead of lifetime wealth destruction. Let us start with the most obvious one: phones. The upgrade cycle: new phone every 2.5 years at $1,000 each. The until it breaks cycle: new phone every 5 years at $1,000 each, over 30 years. Grade cycle: 12 phones multiplied by $1,000 equals $12,000. Until it breaks: 6 phones multiplied by $1,000 equals $6,000. Different $6,000 or $8,166 invested at 8%. But that is just phones. Let us add cars. The upgrade cycle: new car every 6 years at $35,000 with trade-in value $15,000 net, cost $20,000. The until it breaks cycle: new car every 12 years at $35,000 with trade-in value $8,000 net, cost $27,000, over 30 years. Upgrade cycle: 5 cars multiplied by $20,000 equals $100,000. Until it breaks: 2.5 cars multiplied by $27,000 equals $67,500. Difference: $32,500 or $44,229 invested at 8%. Now add laptops, furniture, appliances, televisions, and all the other things people upgrade not because they broke, but because something better exists. Conservative estimate of total upgrade spending across all categories. Upgrade cycle: $10,000 to $15,000 per year, until it breaks $3,000 to $5,000 per year. Difference: $7,000 to $10,000 per year. Over 30 years at 8%, returns $95,255 to $136,079 in foregone wealth. $100,000 minimum. That is what having the latest stuff costs. And that is a conservative estimate that does not account for the fact that upgrade cycles are accelerating. Companies are releasing new models faster, making old models feel obsolete sooner. The psychology of manufactured dissatisfaction. Now let us talk about how companies engineer your dissatisfaction with perfectly functional things, because this is not accidental. It is a deliberate, sophisticated system. Mechanism 1: the feature creep illusion. Every new model has features the old one does not have. Better camera, faster processor, new design, and your brain interprets different features as better even when you do not actually need or use those features. Question: how often do you use the features that differentiate your current phone from your previous phone? Most people use less than 10% of their phone capabilities, but they upgrade for 100% of the new features. You're paying for capabilities you will never use because your brain cannot distinguish between this has more features and this is better for me. Mechanism 2: the social comparison trigger. You see someone with the newer model. Suddenly your model, which was perfectly satisfying 5 minutes ago, feels old and embarrassing, not because it changed, but because the reference point changed. This is why companies invest billions in marketing and product placement. They need you to see the new thing so you feel dissatisfied with your current thing. Your iPhone is not slow, but when you see the new iPhone commercial, suddenly it feels slow. Mechanism 3. The sunk cost upgrade trap. I have had this for 2 years already. Might as well upgrade now while it still has trade in value. This logic is backwards. The fact that you have had something for 2 years means you are past the steepest depreciation curve. Keeping it longer costs almost nothing because it is already depreciated. Trading it means taking the depreciation hit and starting over on a new depreciation curve. But your brain does not think about it that way. Your brain thinks maximize trade in value when it should think minimize total cost of ownership. Mechanism 4. The I deserve it justification. You work hard. You have been responsible. You deserve to have nice things. And nice things means new things because marketing has convinced you that new equals better. The irony is that the people who can actually afford constant upgrades do not do it. The wealthy keep things until they break because they understand that wealth comes from not spending money unnecessarily, not from having the latest stuff. The 4 upgrade categories destroying your wealth. Let us break down the specific categories where upgrade spending happens and calculate what each one actually costs. Category 1. Technology, $2,000 to $4,000 per year. Phones every 2 to 3 years, $400 to $500 per year. Laptops every 3 to 4 years, $250 to $400 per year. Tablets, smartwatches, headphones, $300 to $500 per year. Televisions, gaming systems, smart home devices, $400 to $800 per year. Total annual technology upgrade spending $1,350 to $2,200. If maintained until it breaks, instead $400 to $700 per year. Difference $950 to $1,500 per year equals $12,932 to $20,413 over 30 years at 8%. Category 2. Vehicles, $3,000 to $6,000 per year. The average person buys a new car every 6 years. If they kept cars for 12 years instead and maintained them properly, they would cut their lifetime vehicle costs roughly in half. Annual difference $3,000 to $5,000. Over 30 years at 8%, $40,838 to $68,064. Category 3. Home and furniture, $1,500 to $3,000 per year. Kitchen remodels every 10 years instead of 20. Furniture replaced when styles change instead of when it breaks. Appliances upgraded for features instead of necessity. Annual difference $1,500 to $2,500. Over 30 years at 8%, $20,419 to $34,032. Category 4. Lifestyle upgrades, $1,000 to $2,000 per year. Gym equipment, hobby gear, clothing beyond actual need. Upgrading to premium versions of things you already have that work fine. Annual difference $1,000 to $1,500. Over 30 years at 8%, $13,613 to $20,419. Total across all categories, $7,450 to $10,500 per year in upgrade spending. Over 30 years at 8%, $101,402 to $142,928 in foregone wealth. $100,000 to $140,000. That is what having the latest stuff costs. And remember, this is just the direct cost. It does not include the opportunity cost of what that money could become if invested. The upgrade resistance framework. Alright, let us talk about how to break the upgrade cycle without living like you are in poverty. Rule 1. The functionality test. Before any upgrade, ask, has the thing I currently own stopped performing its primary function? If your phone still makes calls, sends texts, and runs the apps you use, it has not stopped functioning. Slower than the new one is not broken. Camera is not as good as the new one is not broken. Broken means it does not work. This single question eliminates 80% of upgrade spending, because 80% of upgrades happen while the current item still works perfectly fine. Rule 2. The 2-year rule. When you want to upgrade something that still works, wait 2 years from the moment you first felt the desire to upgrade. If you still want it in 2 years and the current item still works, then consider it. Most upgrade desires fade within 90 days once you stop feeding them with research and comparison shopping. This rule works because upgrade desire is usually driven by marketing, not genuine need. Give the marketing time to wear off and the desire disappears. Rule 3. The cost per use calculation. Before upgrading, calculate how much the current item cost per use. Example: $1,000 phone used for 3 years equals $0.91 per day. If you upgrade to a $1,200 phone, now the cost per use resets. You're throwing away the remaining low cost per use period and starting over on a high cost per use period. Things become cheaper the longer you keep them. Upgrading makes them more expensive. Rule 4. The one in, one out policy. You can only buy a new version of something if the old version is actually broken and unfixable. This eliminates the accumulation problem where you upgrade, but keep the old thing just in case, so you end up with two of everything, and have spent twice as much money for the same functionality. Rule 5: the wealth comparison test. Before any upgrade purchase, calculate what that money becomes if invested instead at 8% over the years. You would likely keep the item. Spending $1,200 on a new phone when your current one works equals $1,637. In 3 years, $2,231. In 6 years, $3,038. In 9 years. That $1,200 phone is really a $3,000 phone when you account for opportunity cost. Does having a slightly better camera today feel worth $3,000 in 9 years? The real cost of latest and greatest. Let me show you two people with identical incomes but different upgrade philosophies. Person of the serial upgrader, makes $70,000 per year, always has the latest phone, recent car, updated tech, and stays current with all upgrades. Annual upgrade spending across all categories, $11,000. New phone every 2 years, $500 per year. New car every 5 years, $4,000 per year net after trade-in. Laptop every 3 years, $400 per year. Various tech, furniture, and lifestyle upgrades, $6,100 per year. Over 30 years, $330,000 in direct spending. Opportunity cost at 8%, they could have invested $11,000 per year and had $1,497,571. Person B, the until it breaks user. Same income, $70,000 per year. Uses things until they actually stop working. Annual upgrade, spending $3,500. New phone every 5 years, $200 per year. New car every 12 years, $1,200 per year net after trade-in. Laptop every 6 years, $200 per year. Various necessary replacements, $1,900 per year. Over 30 years, $105,000 in direct spending. They invest the $7,500 per year difference, $1,020,661 at 8%. Person has spent $330,000 to always have the latest stuff. Person B spent $105,000 and has $1,020,661 invested. Net difference: person B has $1,125,661 more wealth than person A, over $1 million. Same income, same job. The only difference: person B did not upgrade things that were still working. And here is the part that should make you reconsider every upgrade. Person A cannot tell you what features differentiated most of their upgrades. They have forgotten why they thought they needed the new phone. They do not remember what the old car was missing. They spent $330,000 on upgrades they barely remember, while person B built generational wealth. The choice between new and rich. Here is the brutal truth: you cannot constantly have the latest version of everything and build significant wealth. The math does not work. The upgrade cycle is specifically designed to extract wealth from people who care more about appearing current than being financially secure. Every upgrade you make while the current item still works is a choice. You are choosing slightly better features I will barely notice over significantly more wealth in retirement. You are choosing impressive to others for 3 months over financial independence years earlier. Most people make the first choice because upgrade culture is so normalized that keeping things until they break feels weird or cheap. But it is not cheap. It is how wealthy people stay wealthy. The people driving older cars and using older phones are not broke. They are the ones with 7-figure investment accounts. The people with brand new everything are the ones living paycheck to paycheck, wondering why their income never seems like enough. Here is what you're going to do this week. Make a list of everything you own that still works but that you have been thinking about upgrading. Phone, laptop, car, television, furniture, everything. For each item, write down: does it still perform its primary function, yes or no? How much would the upgrade cost? What is that cost if invested over the remaining useful life of the current item at 8%? That third number, add them all up. That is your upgrade tax. That is the retirement wealth you are considering trading for slightly newer versions of things that already work. Still want to upgrade? That is it for this one. If this made you reconsider your next upgrade, hit subscribe and share this with someone who has always got the latest iPhone. I will see you in the next one.